Hey guys, it's me again. Um, okay, so I pretty much covered depression and what it's about and all that. So I thought maybe I'd start on another topic, and I decided to pick anxiety and anxiety disorders. Okay, so most people know what anxiety actually is. Like, we all experience anxiety from time to time. So sort of like when you get that shortness of breath, you can't really breathe properly, your heart starts to pound quite a lot, and you just start freaking out, and maybe you become fearful and things like that. But um, an anxiety disorder is when that anxiety is like a whole other level, like yeah. So basically, when it affects your life and when it starts becoming really serious and you can't really cope with it anymore, that's when it becomes an actual disorder. So an anxiety disorder can occur at any time in your life, and anxiety can happen at any time, any place, anywhere, to anybody of any age. And yeah, I mean, people tend to put labels on mental illness, but it can happen to anybody. It's not just people who are crazy or insane. It can happen to anybody, and it happens to millions and millions of people all over the world. And anxiety disorders are just as common as depression, and it's not really spoken about. It's a bit taboo, and I think people should talk about it a bit more, but that's just my opinion. Anxiety disorders, the cause, I would say there isn't really a cause at the moment that could pinpoint exactly why people develop anxiety disorders. It's just the same as any other mental illness. But I guess if you're exposed to a situation which is quite traumatic, you can definitely develop anxiety from that, such as bereavement, like I said in my last video on depression. But it could also be anything that's traumatic to you that causes you a lot of feelings and emotion, that's in a negative way, can definitely lead to anxiety, and definitely an anxiety disorder. Also, another cause would be if a parent or family member that you have has an anxiety disorder, you will definitely have a chance of developing it, either in early life or later life. There's definitely a chance that you could develop one. They also could be triggered by anything, again, situation based, as in a bereavement or traumatic event. But also, normal general anxiety people experiences when they are taking an exam at school, or public speaking, maybe even using a restroom or bathroom in a public place. That can definitely be triggering for an anxiety or panic attack specifically. But again, that type of anxiety can be quite different to other types of anxiety disorders. So I'll give you a list of types of anxiety disorders there are. For example, there's panic disorder, which is when you have recurrent panic attacks. It could be once or twice every month, or it could be once or twice a week or twice a day or more, to the point where you're actually having like a fear, and you fear panic attacks so much, and maybe even avoid places. But that is panic disorder. And you could also develop agoraphobia, which is basically the same as panic disorder, but it takes over your life so much that you don't really want to leave the house because you're so in fear of having a panic attack or some sort of anxiety, and you're in your house all the time, and it's just, yeah, that's probably one of the worst anxiety disorders. But again, they're all as bad as each other, really. Another type is OCD, that's obsessive compulsive disorder. A lot of people have heard that, like, oh, you're so OCD. And people just sort of it flies around. But that's definitely another thing that can have an impact on your life. Certain things like washing your hands all the time, checking if your doors are locked constantly, or if you've switched the gas on or off, or things like that. Just being so obsessive over different compulsions. That's why it's called obsessive compulsive disorder. I could also make other videos on the different types of anxiety disorders, but for now I'm just gonna sort of go through them. PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, that can happen after an event such as somebody dying in your family. You may get flashbacks, memories, things like that, reliving the moment, as they say, which can be really, really difficult for people to deal with and sort of get over what actually happened in their lives, like that trauma that happened, and then they have to relive it and have flashbacks all the time. To the extent that it does affect their lives, and yeah, there's a lot of other symptoms to that, but I won't go into that just yet. Social anxiety disorder, which is basically what it says: in social situations, doesn't matter where you are, how many people there could be one person, there could be 100 people, you experience anxiety to the extent that it affects your life. Generalised anxiety disorder, literally where you worry about things and get anxious about things that maybe aren't really concerning to other people. Like, for example, say somebody in your family who's quite young, say your daughter or just a child in general, went to the local shop, it's just about a 5-minute walk down the road or something like that, to get just to get something, and you experience a lot of anxiety towards that, about them going out, about whether they're going to get hit by a car, or if they're going to come back, or and then that could persist on for such a long time that you do actually get affected by it, and it affects your life, and you just get scared and fearful of everything, and that's really bad, and a lot of people have that, which is unfortunate. Phobias, they're normally called specific phobias. So, for example, if you don't like public speaking, well, that is definitely a common one, or you don't like using public toilets, the bathrooms, stuff like that, then you could fear it that much that you will just avoid it completely, and you won't use the bathrooms, or you'll never go into public speaking no matter what. And it would be really rare to see somebody with a specific phobia to actually take on their phobia, and that can be really difficult to live with as well. I just want to say that anxiety disorders are real, and they are a proper mental illness, and people just think that it's just a bit of anxiety and that they'll get over it, and it's really not like that for the sufferer anyway. It's really a traumatic, horrible sorry, my throat's going. It's a traumatic, horrible experience that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and that's, it's just really, really unfortunate. As I say, it can affect a person's life drastically. I mean, if a person can't leave their house because they're afraid of having a panic attack, that's definitely very severe. And, it can affect their lives horribly. They won't be able to go out with their friends or with their family. It's just horrible. Symptoms for anxiety, and also mainly anxiety disorders, include things like heart palpitations, fatigue, nausea, chest pains, muscle tension, shortness of breath, headaches, stomach aches, and fear of something bad is going to happen. I mean, they usually call it impending doom, like something bad is just going to happen if they leave the house, or if they don't wash their hands enough, or if they if anything, if they go onto a stage and give a speech, something bad's going to happen, like, are they going to fall over, are they going to mess up their words and people are going to laugh at them. It's that humiliation, the fear, and the avoidance is definitely what what is an anxiety disorder. Also, loss of reality, it's sort of derealisation. That can be really difficult to explain to somebody who's never really had anxiety to that extent before. I know definitely with panic attacks, if you have loss of reality, if it kind of feels like you're not in this world but you've gone to a different world, like it's really difficult to explain. Like, imagine there's you and then there's a wall and then there's reality, so it's like you, wall, reality. You are here and then the wall is blocking you from actual reality, and it's really difficult to get past that wall because the wall is just so tough to conquer, and it's just really difficult to get past that stage. And for the sufferer, that can be really, really absolutely horrible and overwhelming, and it's like really just not nice for anybody to experience that. I've personally experienced that. I've experienced panic attacks a lot, to a great extent at one point. I'll probably make another video on that, probably my experience with anxiety or something. But yeah, like that was just sort of a brief about anxiety disorders and about the many different types and things like that. And if you guys have any questions, please comment and please subscribe, and yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Bye.